Hello and welcome to another edition of UFO Video Addicts. Let me give you a preview of what I got coming up in this video. Let's see, the first are two compilation videos. This is top 7 UFO sightings that are still unexplained. Also have this video, top 5 triangular UFO footage. I also found this video on Reddit with some strange lights in the cloud. Then I have this other video that I've played before of this Jessie Roestenberg, 1954, describing seeing a UFO with a couple occupants in it. And then I also found this drawing, illustration of what she actually saw. She, described this as, I think, like a Mexican hat UFO or something. And then these are the two people with the page boy haircuts. Let's see. Also have this video here about this project called Starfish Prime. It was the U.S. testing nuclear bombs in the ocean. And, I actually believe there was something else going on besides just testing nuclear bombs. Let's see. I also have this article from the War Zone about how the Navy were harassed by these UFOs for a long, long time. And then let's see, here's this article here about some posts that were made to Reddit and then taken down. But this person, I think they kept it. But it's supposedly some NOAA employees revealing that our military has encountered aquatic humanoids in the Marianas Trench, and that there is also some type of a portal that our underwater neighbors use to, I guess, travel to other parts of the galaxy. I'm not too sure about that. Possibly a wormhole or something like that. Let's see. And then last is this article here about the mysterious evacuation of the Sunspot Observatory. This is a year ago today. The FBI suddenly shut down a remote mountaintop observatory with no explanation. The internet went wild with theories. So yeah, this is just, it's an article, but you can actually listen to it. It's 30 minutes long. I actually think it has something to do with its view of the White Sands missile base. I think, maybe there might have been a UFO landing or something, and that's the reason why they evacuated everyone and then came up with that bullshit story about, someone that worked at the janitor that worked there had porn on his computer or some crap like that. But anyways, let's go to this first video here. This is top 7 UFO sightings that are still unexplained. Let's check out some of these.
Huh? No, they go real far away. They travel like a distance. They don't just...
Let's see, there's this one on this video. Let's see, there's another one. Anyways, I can't play the whole video. The link to this video will be in the description. Check it out. Let's go to this one here. This is top 5 triangular UFO sightings. Now let's see. Let's go to this first one.
I can't tell if this is going to be an issue or not with landing. And Oliver said, hey, Pa, what are those lights? And I said, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they are. And so
yeah, now this is Kurt Russell talking. He was the pilot that supposedly reported seeing the Phoenix lights. So there's that in this video. Let's see. I think there's one here.
First official contact with an alien craft.
These speeds would be impossible to tolerate for a human being. That's a first point. A second point is the visual observations always describe a system, a machine, which hangs and hovers above the surface at quite a low altitude without making any noise.
Anyways, that's that top 5 triangle UFO sighting. Link will be in the description. Let's go to this one here. Now, this one I can go ahead and play the whole thing because it's a Reddit video. But check that out. No, these definitely, initially when you see the beam, you would think that it's like Klieg lights or something like that. But I mean, here you're seeing there's no beam, there's no light shining up and creating this. So I'm assuming that the illumination is coming from within the cloud and not being, not the cloud being lit up. But anyways, link will be in the description. Now, this is a video that I've played before, but I'm getting new subscribers and not everyone has seen this video. So if you've been a subscriber for a while, of course, occasionally you may see the same video, twice or, more than that. But it's just because I know there are new people who are subscribing and not everyone has seen these videos. So, I'll bring them up. But the reason why I went back to this video is because I found this image here. This is 1954 Staffordshire, UK UFO witness. The eyewitness drew a picture of the craft she saw and got an artist's impression of the beings in the craft. Now I think, so this Jessie Roestenberg, she describes seeing these guys in here with the page boy haircuts.
All I can describe, this huge Mexican hat. It was stationary, this thing, and it was bright silver in colour, and it had a dome. It was tilted to sort of, I could see the occupants in it.
You saw people in it?
I saw people in it. There were 2 people in there. These people were beautiful people. That's the only way I can describe them. They had long golden hair, like a page boy bob, just like the old kings. You used to see photographs of the old kings. And the colour of their hair was golden. Now, I was really... They had a sort of a polo neck jumper affair, like a ski top suit, in pale blue. Now, these people weren't sat one behind the other. They were sat together, but this, whatever it was tilted so that I could see them and they could see me.
Were you looking at them through windows, through portholes?
No, not portholes. It was just sort of like a cockpit, I suppose, that had this perspex or glass or whatever it was. They could see me anyway, and I could see them. And they had beautiful faces. I shall never forget their faces as long as I live. Their foreheads seemed to be a bit larger than, the bottom of their faces as normal people you would expect to see. But maybe this was just whatever they had around their heads, which was like a transparent fishbowl. And they just looked, and I was absolutely paralytic with fear. I couldn't move, although my mind was ticking over. And they looked so sympathetic that I was just mesmerized for what seemed to be, ages, but it could have only been seconds. And I turned to sort of look down at the boys, was unaware that they were with me because I was so absorbed. And the next thing, I looked up and it was gone.
How low had it been?
It had been... The height, I couldn't tell you.
Anyways, that's that video. Link will be in the description. But, I find it very interesting that she said that they had the page boy haircuts. They had larger foreheads and a smaller face. And, I recently listened to an interview with Richard Dolan, and he's been saying that there are hybrids or just aliens within our society. And again, when I people watch, I look at the shape of people's heads. That's something that I do because I'm trying to determine whether they're earthlings or not. But anyways, check out these links. Let's go to this video here. Now, this is an hour-long video. It's only in the beginning where there's like some discussion, and then the rest of the video, it's just it seems like they're films of nuclear explosions with different filters on it. But this is about this Starfish Prime test interim report by Commander JTFL, Fishbowl Aurora sequences, silent Dominic on Fishbowl phenomenon. Let me play this a little.
Starfish Prime was ready. The missile lifted off. and began its long programmed trajectory. Now the scientific rockets were sent aloft, each carefully timed to be at an exact point in space at detonation. At its 1,100-kilometer apogee, the warhead arched over and dropped to its prescribed burst height of 400 kilometers. Here, in still pictures, are two profile views of the starfish prime aurora as seen from the Hawaiian Islands 700 miles away.
Anyways, this whole video, it's, declassified. It's not very exciting. What I find interesting is who is this EG&G that was filming this? Every time you play this, every time they're done with the sequence, there's this logo. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, right there. Did you see that logo? So who's EG&G? These are the people that filmed all this, but I've heard this name come up several times. So it'd be interesting to look in on this. But one thing I want to point out, these tests were conducted, I believe, in the 1960s, which was after World War II, right? After our military was aware of Foo Fighters, after they sent Admiral Byrd to the Antarctic to confront them and then, got their asses kicked. So if we know today, right, that there are alien craft flying around in our skies, many times they are cloaked, right? If we were to today to blow up nuclear bombs in the atmosphere, right? I don't have a lot of wrinkles in my brain, but even I can figure out that we must somehow disrupt their flight patterns. So if these guys were blowing up, these nuclear bombs back in the 1960s, they too must have known that, they're going to impact some of these alien craft. So I actually believe that all of this testing was actually done in order to try and bring down some of these crafts, our underwater neighbors and their crafts. All this claim about, testing, I think it's just they were doing way too much testing. So, I think that, that was the actual purpose. Again, knowing that our government constantly lies to us about everything. So whatever story they were telling us, I'm pretty sure was bullshit. I'm of the belief that they were actually trying to knock out some of our underwater neighbors and, recover the crafts. But anyways, check out this video. Now let's go to this article here. Harassment of Navy destroyers by mysterious drones swarm off California went on for weeks. A new trove of documents shows that the still unsolved incidents continue far longer than previously understood. Earlier this year, the War Zone exclusively reported about a series of 2019 incidents that involved unidentified drones stalking U.S. Navy vessels over several nights in the waters off of Southern California. Our initial reports also covered the Navy's investigation into the incidents, which appear to struggle to identify either the aircrafts or their operators. Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Michael Gilday later clarified that the aircraft were never identified and that there have been similar incidents across the service branches and allied militaries, right? So, yeah, again, here's an article talking about, all the times that our military gets harassed or encountered by these alien crafts. And, one thing I also want to point out, right, concerning the Bermuda Triangle, we know for a fact that there have been strange incidences occurring in the Bermuda Triangle for hundreds of years, right? There have been reports of, strange crafts being seen underwater, crafts going in and out of the water, ships disappearing in the past. And then in the recent history, right, there were reports, documented reports of military craft, whether it be squadrons of planes, military ships getting lost in there. And then, other stories about ships that were lost years ago and then show up all rusty with the crew missing. Doesn't it make more sense that, that these anomalies aren't just myths? They may be our underwater neighbors protecting their space. And that's the reason why there's so many strange occurrences. Right? And the military stories about, those planes doing training missions in the Bermuda Triangle and then coming up missing, I think that's bullshit. I think our military was most likely going into the Bermuda Triangle to try and chase some of our underwater neighbors. And, because of course they're more advanced than us, they were defeated. So I think that's what's going on. And, and there are cases of, I think it's the Go Fast video or the gimbal. One of those videos was taken off the east coast of the United States. So, there are still strange occurrences going on around that Bermuda Triangle area. Doesn't it make more sense then that it's because that's where they have an underwater base or something? But anyways, check out this article here. Let's see. Yeah, here's this article. NOAA employee, there are highly evolved humanoid beings living in our oceans. Now, the story behind this is two different NOAA employees posted this story, and those stories were immediately taken down. And I think, when you try to find the post, you have to find an archived version of it. But let me just read something that this person says here. It says, I am compelled to break the silence and disseminate this information. My colleagues and the organizations I have called home for the past 12 years are responsible for silencing one of the greatest genealogical discoveries of all time. The department in which I work is being restructured and downsized, so I'm about to lose my job. This announcement will likely accelerate that process. Well, he goes on to talk about his degree, whatever. Here it is. In 2012, there was an incident with several beached whales the NOAA and the Navy team investigated. Immediately afterwards, everything was thoroughly covered up. The whales were covered with perfectly round incisions from which large chunks of the flesh had been removed, like cylinders of meat. At first, we thought it had been done after the landings, but then we learned that they had been thrown ashore that way. What really caught everyone's attention was the scorched flesh around the circumference of the incisions, as if they had been burned out with a laser. We were all puzzled, as we had never seen anything like this on a sea creature. Then we got a call that a small team would be doing a hydrographic survey of the area with the local vessel's echo sounder. We normally use a technique called multi-beam sonar to scan map the seafloor with amazing detail. The data we collected is processed by various organizations and usually uploaded to online databases. We were told that would not happen on this expedition. In short, we found incontrovertible evidence of an advanced humanoid species in the depths of the ocean. Using multi-beam sonar, we located their habitat as well as what appears to be underwater vehicles. The creatures reached speeds in excess of 70 knots, faster than the sailfish, thought to be the fastest creatures in the ocean. They were also recorded making sounds reminiscent of marine communications, and instruments also recorded emissions of precise sonar blasts that damaged the hull of the submersible. The Navy report said video footage of the creatures, including juveniles, is available. The Navy did not share the video with us, but the officer I spoke with gave the following description. They didn't look real. They looked like computer animation or something. They had a glow around their whole body, and they moved very fast. Even minor movements like turning their heads or moving their arm was like watching a high frame rate video. They don't look like any fictional image. They have no fish tail. They are fully humanoid, but very skinny, high. Their bodies were covered with a material resembling elemental mercury, which looked like it was moving. They were very interested in the underwater apparatus and seemed to know they were being watched, as several times they swam away and returned with new creatures. We observed no more than 5 of them at a time. They were different sizes, but otherwise looked the same. Their eyes were completely white, and they had no hair or any indications that they were male or female. No ears were visible, and their mouths were wide and without lips. We directed a sequence of lights, sounds, and even extended a robotic arm on an underwater vehicle to try to get some physical sample DNA from the samples or the water closest to them. We don't know how they swam, since they didn't swim with the current or move their bodies the way a fish or even a human underwater should. They were simply able to move quickly in any direction without having to change position or swim. In fact, during most observations, they simply floated motionless without losing or gaining buoyancy. Well, that's as much as I'm going to read there. This is a pretty long description about what they encountered, but they also talk about some portals that they believe are being used by some advanced species to, maybe go to different parts of the galaxy. I'm not really too sure about that. I'm just speculating. But anyways, the link to this article will be in the description. And then last is this story here about the mysterious evacuation of Sunspot Observatory. A year ago today, the FBI suddenly shut down a remote mountaintop observatory with no explanation. The internet went wild with theories. This is like a 29-minute audio if you want to listen to it, or you can read it. But essentially, what it talks about is this Sunspot Observatory that, for whatever reason, the FBI shut it down and cleared out everyone from the observatory, and I'm pretty sure that the surrounding town. And then they claimed that it was because, like a janitor that was working there was downloading child porn or some bullshit like that. But, people who investigated had determined that that's a bullshit story. But, one thing that I do want to mention is, I think, what is this, that this observatory has a view of the White Sands Missile Range. Here it is. Perhaps most plausible was the notion that some kind of espionage was taking place. Sunspot has expansive views of Holloman Air Force Base and the White Sands Missile Range, both of which test experimental aircraft and weaponry. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Holloman Air Force Base was also where there was a UFO landing, where supposedly, I don't remember the astronaut's name, but they had a meeting with the race where it was filmed. But yeah, I think that's the story that seems most plausible. That this area has a view of the Holloman Air Force Base, and was there another UFO landing? And that's the reason why they cleared everyone out. They didn't want anyone seeing it. Because, there is another observatory close to this that didn't get shut down. But I don't believe that observatory has a view of this missile base. So, is that the reason why they shut it down? Because there was a UFO landing? Possible. Anyways, that is going to be it for this video. If you like things like this, please give this video a thumbs up. Please share this video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'll have more things like this. Take care.